All righty, Rudy. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a new episode of CAV HQ Live. I am your host, CAV Boss, where we do all things CAV, generally, usually, for the most part. So welcome. I hope you're staying warm. I know that it's extremely hard right now. Anybody that knows me personally knows how much I truly hate the cold. So, pretty miserable. But we'll get through it. So, it is what it is. All right, we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to show up, and then we'll get started on projects. As they're spread out on my table still there. I have been building other buildings and stuff. I just don't have them all primered and ready to go to the next step. One of the things I want to work on tonight is I've had a couple people ask me about what exactly I'm trying to set up with the board. So I'm going to kind of get on that a little bit tonight. Got a new product in that I'm going to try out. Don't know if we'll get to it tonight, but at least we'll talk about it. But I'm going to put the first dry brush coat on our vehicles tonight with the base color that I used for that, which was amber gold. Then we are going to put our medium dry brush onto our buildings, which is filigree silver. And what else? And just what else, whatever we get to tonight. So if you are here and hopefully you are enjoying the hobby as we go, or if you're just here to listen to me babble, then we'll be good. Is our camera focusing? There we go. Darn autofocus. Get my hands in there too high. Yeah. Nice little pink fingers. And and what even sucks even worse is I put my truck in the shop Monday because I needed new brakes. And of course my truck's got auto start and all those nice little bells and whistles. And of course the storm comes in. So I have an older Suburban that I kind of use as my, I haul my couple of trailers around with my lawnmower or go out to the lake or something like that. So I don't want to get junk on my good truck or something. So I'm driving it right now. And of course it doesn't have the auto start and everything. So I come out this morning and it's got a half-inch layer of ice over it, covered by snow. So it took me an hour to get that thing thawed out. So cold. Bitter, bitter cold. Sucks. So I thought we'd had more people tonight with the cold. I figured everybody'd be staying in for the night. Must be on Lord of the Rings marathons or Harry Potter or something. Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. All right. Well, so let's see. I'm going to start sketching on my board a little bit that I had been talking about so that everybody has a better idea of what we're going after. So what we got here is it's going to be a 4x6 mat. Now the idea behind this is it is a outer rim human mining settlement. But these guys are they're barely hanging on. You know, they paid passage here. You know, let's say, hi Elmer, how you doing? So let's say they've been here, I don't know, 10 years. Paid passage 10 years ago. Set up their own community. Okay, you know, they're mining for whatever. So they get periodically, they get a supply ship comes in. And, you know, trades supplies, whatever. For what they mine, you know. And then they either buy or set up a deal or whatever to sell the excess material, if there's any. So obviously they're not doing really good because for the most part they're living in corrugated metal buildings and shipping containers. So here over the last year, they've started having pirates show up. So the pirates show up, you know, steal food and, you know, whatever they're mining. So they've had enough of it. They've hired a merc unit. And these guys are going to be, you know, these are, you know, down on their luck. You know, just starting. So they're not real well known. They're whatever they are, but they're cheap. All right. So now they've been here to protect the colony and whatnot. Well, now we have a pirate raid, and I'm figuring maybe 1 to 2 squads. They're going to be a Terran unit, Terran mercs. So, you know, you're going to see some Terran stuff and whatnot. Now the pirates are going to be kind of a human and rock mix. And these are rock that have, you know, they didn't want to be part of the whole rock system or whatever, and they're going off and doing their own thing or whatever. So we're going to have a mix of, and you know, they raid rock places too, kind of in that area or whatnot. So a mix of Terran and rock machines. 1 to 2 squads. And we'll work on getting those together later. So the board. Now, I figure that, and this will probably be this will kind of be a green grass base. board. And there might, I don't know if I've got a green. It might be a green and dirt mixed or two as well. We'll see. But I'm thinking that they're probably going to, it's not going to be a desert roll or anything like that. So they're probably going to set up along a river because they're going to need, that was close or something like that. So I want to build a river down the middle of the board, and this will be a good thing to split up the board. So I'm thinking that I want to have a river that's coming down and forks. So we're going to start it up here. Okay. And what I'll end up doing with these I'll cut out of, I'll cut this out of MDF board. And it'll be kind of like my lakes, and we'll show on those on theirs too, but they'll have a raised ridge to be the transition between the board and the terrain. So they'll slope down on the edge. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll cut it in sections, probably, 1 or 2 foot sections, if I can get away with it, and I'll make them so that they lock together. So like here is the river with the ridges here. So we'll have a section here, and hi there, JS Twitch. And what I'll do is, because I glue these on top on the edge. So I'm going to cut out a notch here, and that'll be covered up by this piece here. And then the end piece will have the same notch on the end. And that way I can take this piece here and then these will lock together. But you'll see the line, but you won't actually see the notches. So that's why I'm going to do that. So it'll probably be a piece here, like so. It's probably how I'll probably do it that way. Then we're going to have the town, and I'm still kind of playing with how I want to do this because I want to have dirt roads. That the town's kind of built around. Kind of like so. One come up through here. And then there'll be some raised areas. Provide a little bit of, break up the cover a little bit. And then then we'll put the shanties and the buildings and stuff, kind of our little frontier town. I've got a piece that's kind of going to be kind of like a water purification thing, so I'll put it here because it's got tubes that go out into the water. Probably come off of those like so, and maybe put a couple of tanks out here. We'll put a bridge here. A bridge here. And we'll do one back here too. We'll adjust the road so that they all work out right. And then we're going to need to have a mech yard, CAV yard, or place for where the Merc base. I'm thinking it's going to be just kind of a fenced-in area with, maybe a little place for a bunker and maybe a little deal or something like that. Then I wanted to, back here in the back corner, I think, I want to build up an area that's going to be the mine. And I'm not sure yet how I want a mine to look. Obviously, I don't want it to be a Western look or something to it, but so I'm going to have to think of what the kind of, I guess we'll have to figure out what they're going to mine, but we'll have to come up with but we'll get all these kind of mixed in here. But I'm thinking that we'll have, with two squads, we'll have a squad back here on patrol on this side of the river. Then we're going to have squad 2 here at the base. And they're going to be not ready to go right off the bat. And then we'll probably have the pirates come in here. And we don't want to make it just a destroy mission, so maybe goal is pirates try to reach mine for their primary. And then we'll come up with a secondary. And then the mercs obviously are protecting the mine. And then we'll give them a secondary too. We'll have to think on that a little bit. But that's kind of what I've got in mind. Shanty bridges have weight limits. Well, maybe. We can make a note of that. Do bridges. So, because obviously we'll have the bridges are going to be very important because the pirates are going to have to cross the bridges to get to the mine. But I figured these guys, the Merc squad, the second squad is going to have a delayed activation. No, bridges are not destructible. I've never really been on those are, the ambits and stuff are for my Terran force that I'm working on the desert board for the Terrans versus the rock battle that I'm working on too. This is just kind of this is a side one that I'm building too, that I'm kind of setting up. I've never been real big on destroying bridges and buildings and stuff like that for the most part, because you're talking the time that this battle really takes place, and it's I don't know. I'm not. Obviously, there's times when you need stuff like that, but it's not that big a deal. Well, they'll probably run a line across the river next to the bridge that goes underground here that probably have it feed to this. This would be cool. This would be a good thing for this. So this would be, there's one that goes in that fills it up, and then there's another one that, right. Yeah, no, the ambits are for the other board, other game. This is my side scenario when I'm working on. And it gives me a chance, because I really have been wanting to build a river system. So we'll put the water thing up there or something. All right, so there's kind of what I'm working on. And now you kind of get an idea of how, when I'm working on scenarios, this is kind of my thinking process when I go to put stuff together, making notes and what I'm trying to do and ideas behind the story and stuff. So we've got that. Now, and I probably won't start working on this one tonight, but I talked about this one, and actually I probably ought to go ahead and paint the metal. This has got a dirt base is what it's supposed to have. There's a pile of dirt back here, and this so I've been trying to, but the 3D print just printed it flat. It's got a little bit of texture from the material, but it's not in there. So I got this in. So this is a Vallejo product. It's an earth texture acrylic. And this is brown earth. But it's kind of a thick, medium kind of stuff. It's got some texture built in it. So I'm assuming that I don't know how well that shows up on the camera, but probably that texture that you see in it is probably about what it'll dry at, and you can put it on as thin or as thick as you want to. And after it dries, they say about 30 or 45 minutes, and you can paint it more and do stuff with it. So I got this that I'm going to use to paint onto the dirt. So we'll have that on an upcoming show and see how that works and see what people think of that. While I'm thinking about it, drywall, mud, and sand. The reason that I have done drywall, mud, and sand before, the reason that I didn't want to do it on this is because I think the sand material is not fine enough for what I want. And this has a much finer material in it than sand. I've used drywall, mud, and sand, and I use sand for a lot of stuff. But as close in as this is going to be, I didn't want a bunch of sand piled up there the size of the sand particles. I just thought it would be too big for this. And that's got a much finer mix in it. So that's why I went with that for that particular product. Baking soda, maybe. Baking soda may be too fine. But I got this. Why not use this? It's already mixed up, already ready to go. It really wasn't that expensive. I think I got it off of Amazon for $5, $6. So I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Thank you for your all ideas. You're too late. You're too late to the party. Products have already been purchased. Looks like peanut butter. I guess it does. I mean, it looks like baby poop, really. But it's got, it's not as thick as you would think it is. But it's got just a little bit of grit to it. And I just think that scale-wise, and that's the hard thing when you're doing 10 millimeter. Is so much of the cool modeling stuff out there is just, you got to be careful with it because most of it's made for 28 millimeter and bigger model kits, and it just kind of gets out of there. All right, so let us, we're going to start dry brushing, put the amber gold back on. I base coated all these with amber gold, and then I put a brown wash on it with the skin wash, gaming skin wash. And now we're going to go back with the amber gold, and luckily, at least for the parts and stuff like that, I'm all 3D printing these days. There is so much stuff out there that you can just download even for free. And these FDM printers for this kind of stuff are great. And if you need something a little fine, you can get a resin printer. So I have fully embraced the whole 3D printing revolution. All right, so I'm going to get a little amber gold. All right, get our little dry brush. We got our little cardboard here. We're going to see if we can do a little dry brushing. Now this is going to be a pretty aggressive dry brush. I'm really trying to pull that base color back up. What I typically try to do is, how many shedding buildings will you make? I think I've got like 30 done so far as actually printed. So at least that. But what I was saying, how I paint, and again, this is just the way I paint. It's not telling you what's right or what's wrong, because I am not the world's greatest painter for sure. But I like, when I'm painting mechanical stuff, things like that, I like to base coat it. I like to wash it. I like to come back with that base color and do a dry brush. Then I take a medium color and come back and dry brush again. A little lighter, a little easier. And then I use my highlight color to come in and edge a little bit. So that is the John Walker CAV Boss style of painting. I think it does an okay job for tabletop stuff. Your mileage may vary. And I generally always airbrush my base coat on. I wanted to play around a little bit with, doing the Xenofall shading and coming back with like glazes and stuff. I just haven't been able to get to that yet. But that's something I'd really like to try out. I watched some guys on YouTube do it, and it looks pretty cool. Not sure how well this is. Oh, hey there. Somebody forgot to get their stuff thinned out there. Whoa. I get for not paying attention. Oh well, at least it was a big old panel. And I'm not sure if I said it a minute ago, FYI, there will not be a show next week. I have a class that I'm going to be taking all week, and I just will not have time to do it. Now I tend to also, when I do my medium dry brush, I stay more to the high so that this kind of becomes more the shadow color too. So. Try and get down into all the little. And I know, some people don't like to put, paint their stuff separate and not put it together until after they paint. I just, it's too much for me as paint. I figure if it's too hard to get into to paint, you'll never see it anyway. All right. Down under his chin a little bit there. The time you think you got it all, you're looking, oh, there's another spot. Like, where did that come from? All right. That kind of got that on there. All right. Vehicles a little tougher here. They're smaller and harder to hold on to, but we'll get there. So it really wasn't to the point that I was ready to show it yet today, but one of the artists sent in they're working on the Typhoon, which is a ground attack fighter craft, VTOL for the Ritter. And I liked it. I mean, we've got some changes we got to make to it, but it looked really sharp. So since we won't have a show next week, maybe the show after that it'll be a little further ahead, and I can kind of give you a preview of it. But I really liked it. It's going in the right direction. I don't remember the names off the top of my head. I'm going to move it more sandy colored, so the middle color is going to be a little more brownish, and then the last color will be a real light, like khaki color. Because then I'm going to go in and do my little black and white chips, little chocolate chip thingy markers on it too. Hey there, I have a little too much on there. I mean the contrasting colors. I'm afraid I'm not catching you. Oh, you mean like for barrels and stuff like that? I mean, I'll do any of the weapons, like a gun barrel, kind of a dark gray color. Probably do a little bit of some spots with black, do the missile ends, stuff like that. Yeah, windows. I'm not sure on the windows. Probably, I'm thinking kind of a bluish green color with a little bit of a highlight for the reflection. Is that like aquamarine or something? Oops, a little too heavy there. I have a color, I don't know that you can get it anymore. I don't know if Reaper will mix it up or not for as under their program. But years ago they did some paints for heavy gear. And they have a color on there called Ram Black. And it is an incredible color. It's black, but it's got, I think, a little bit of blue in it and a little bit of white to bring the gray out. And so you get kind of a bluish, black, dark gray color. And it's a really cool color to use when you have some metal areas and stuff that you want to paint. But it's a color I go to a lot that I really like for barrel colors and stuff. But if you find one out there on eBay or something like that, get it. You won't be disappointed with it. It's just a really good color for this kind of stuff, I think. Now I'm still kind of thinking about my colors on our little Merc Force and our little Pirate group. It's going to be kind of a mix mash, I think, of stuff. I love the Dingo. One of my favorite vehicles. So while I'm painting, something to talk about that keeps coming up. The CAV RPG. So here's my thought process on that. And none of this is 100% written in stone yet. So If everybody doesn't agree, maybe, I can listen to the masses. But, and I was talking to this with a couple of people the other night, is I'm pretty set on going ahead and doing an RPG. I think it's something, it's not going to happen until the later half of the year. I've got too many other projects on the burner right now that need to be done. But I think what I plan on doing, instead of, Biotech did their MechWarrior RPG, and Heavy Gear's got their RPG game, and both those games center around, mech pilots, gear pilots, which I understand that. That's part of, that's what the game is, and that's their core audience that they want to try to go through. Well, what I would like to do instead is do a sci-fi based RPG set in the CAV universe. So, if that's something you want to do, if you want to be a CAV pilot or a vehicle crew or something, and go down that, all the tools will be there for you to do that. But it'll really focus more on, being a more traditional RPG game with a group that's, has more things to do than to worry about always being in a CAV going out and fighting. So that's kind of my thinking, the direction that I want to go with the RPG. And probably what I'll end up doing, and this will make it happen a little quicker because I won't have to put as much work on the front end until I know for sure that it's going to be something we're going to do, is I'll probably do a Kickstarter. For it. That way we can do, the game book. I'm thinking, all kinds of things like that. Figures, miniature figures for it. But that's my thinking process at the moment. The kind of the way that I'm leaning towards. And nothing is 100% set in stone. It's just something that it's been on my mind a lot lately. People keep asking me questions about it. I guess that's why it stays on my mind, right? The Emmett's got some really good stuff that catches the dry brush. But you can say you heard it here first. Just a little bit more paint, I think. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to painting the windows on my shanty buildings. They're pretty small. All right. Stretch this out just a little. Well, and there'll be stuff in there for that, but I will tell you that probably that the RPG will probably be very human orientated or Terran. I mean, you'll be able to do the other, with other stuff too, but we got to kind of pick one to really start with and build around, and so it'll be the humans, and we'll go from there. All right, I think that gets all our dry brushing done on our vehicles for the night. All right, here, clean our brush out a little bit. Right. Let's get a couple more cards. Should focus there. All right, so let's start. We'll work a little bit on our buildings. Oh, we're kind of getting to the end of the show. Anybody have any questions or anything else you'd like me to go over while you have my attention for the night? I think I got this one totally done. And some of these other, not all these are going to all be, silver, galvanized steel look to them. I've got some I want to do some, maybe some olive green or something on, just colors that you might see on some paneling and stuff like that, especially if they've taken it apart off of other things to use. Just to get some different colors out there. Probably going to be smaller. I would think more in the 4 to 6, maybe a couple of 8 DT models, one on each side or so. Might be already have some battle damage to them, maybe, especially on the pirates. Also, don't forget, if you are in the Denver area, we will be attending Genghis Khan last weekend of this month. So hopefully we'll have a chance to see some of you out there. Certainly probably make some new friends. It's the first time going, so it'll be lots of fun. Always is. I always have fun at conventions. Need to get it, put the list up. We'll be at March and it's Adepticon. We've got Little Wars in there. I don't know if they're a March weekend or an April weekend this year. Need to get that list done. There's some other shows I need to get tied down to. Just so much to do all the time. All right, I think that's going to do me up for paint for tonight. Well, folks, we're getting to the witching hour here. I hope everybody stays warm to the best of their ability. As I noted, the show we won't be here next week. I'll put a reminder up on the forums in the Facebook group. Maybe I'll start a thread on the forums. Maybe you guys could throw some ideas for a pirate and merc force. Come up with a new name for a little down on its luck beginning merc force. Well, we're working on this project. I still got this thing here and I got to paint. I'm like, oh my God. But that's for my starport thing that I'm going to work on too. It's on the list. Aren't they always? Well, folks, thanks for being here tonight. It was enjoyable, as always. If you're ever in the Wichita area, always give us a holler. Come by the shop. You can sit down and paint with us or something. We always find a little time for visitors. Other than that, Miss Lincoln, that's all I know. So, take care. I will talk to you all later, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Good night.